One of Australia's most prominent female business leaders believes the corporate world is finally taking women seriously. It's becoming rather an old chestnut, this issue of women in business, and while former Business Council of Australia Chief Executive Katie Lahey is filled with optimism, the head of the CSIRO says her world has a lot of catching up to do on the issue of gender balance. Andrew Robertson reports.
The push is on to get women into the boardroom, led by the ASX's new corporate governance guidelines on diversity. It's one reason why recently departed Business Council of Australia Chief Executive Katie Lahey is convinced attitudes to women are changing.
Men are talking about it to other men. It's not just us whinging about it as we've done for the last 20 years.
Katie Lahey was speaking to the converted at a Women in Banking and Finance forum in Sydney, but while she's confident about the future for women in business, she had a warning for male business leaders who refuse to move with the times.
I'm still for having those quotas in my back pocket if all else fails, but I think at the moment we're on the cusp of a change that's not going to require quotas.
Among those sharing the platform with Katie Lahey was Janie Wanless, who's the Australian manager for Bank of America. She recalled her early days in the corporate world when life for women was very different.
When I first started out my career in global markets, most of the women in the dealing rooms, we were too scared to take annual leave. And we didn't take annual leave for the first 2 years of our careers, just because you didn't know you were going to have a desk if you came back.
But while career paths for women are improving in the corporate sector, in the world of science and engineering, it's a different story, even though the head of the CSIRO is a woman.
Whilst we have very even numbers in the early stages of people's career, we literally have a bifurcation that gets progressively worse in the different promotional levels. So we're not promoting our women.
And according to Megan Clark, the CSIRO is not keeping its women because old-fashioned ideas of what a career in science and engineering should look like still prevail.
In our sector, there can be very, very subtle messages. If you want a career in science, there is only one way. You need to keep on this very linear path, which can be very quietly but very powerfully exclusionary, and that has the effect of people opting out and not coming back.
The panel was agreed that women can be their own worst enemy in their climb up the corporate ladder. Katie Lahey is now the Australian Chief Executive of global headhunting firm Korn Ferry and says women often sell themselves short when they're applying for big jobs.
Women often feel that their good works will come to the fore without us having to spook ourselves. We have to spook ourselves and we have to learn how to do it.
Part of that spooking for women is to differentiate themselves from men, and a good mentor can help find the important points of difference.
You need to have the open, frank discussions, take constructive criticism, look for rooms for improvement, and always try to work out where your point of differentiation is and work with your mentor to help you develop that.
The reality for women applying for senior roles is that they're often competing against very aggressive, highly focused men who are not backward in promoting themselves.